Poor single dad missed his interview to save a choking girl, unaware her mom was a billionaire CEO. The moment that shouldn't have been possible. The sirens hadn't started yet. That would come later, after the paramedics found the truth, after the security cameras were reviewed, after the billionaire CEO demanded to know the identity of the man who had touched her daughter. But before all of that, before the day rearranged itself like a deck of cards in a hurricane, there was a moment so impossible, so out of place, that witnesses later said it felt like time had jumped the tracks. It began with a single, gut-punching sound. A child-strangled gasp. And the man everyone ignored, because he was wearing a thrift store shirt and shoes with thinning soles, dropping the folder containing his last chance at a real job onto the cracked concrete of a chaotic city sidewalk. If you ever watched the footage, the strange part isn't the girl choking or the panicking crowd or even the man sprinting toward her with the wild intensity of someone who has already lost too much in life. The strange part is what happens 3 seconds before he touches her shoulders. He hesitates. As if something, or someone, were tugging at the strings of fate. And in that unexplainable pause, the future quietly rewrites itself. Before I reveal the truth behind that eerie hesitation, one that will make your jaw drop, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the Kindness Chronicles. Trust me, by the time you reach the end, that moment will hit you like a freight train. The man's name was Daniel Hart, a single dad with exhaustion sketched into the corners of his eyes, as though sleepless nights had sanded them down. He worked part-time at a gas station, patched roofs on weekends, and still never quite earned enough to keep the electricity bill from stalking him like a debt collector phantom. His son, Micah, was 6, bright, and gentle, the kind of kid who believed all storms eventually passed because his father always told him they did. Daniel had one shot left to change their lives. An interview at Adler Dynamics, a tech giant with a salary that would finally catch his family before they fell any further. He was on time. Early, even. A miracle wrapped in cheap cologne and determination. Until he saw the girl. She stood near the food cart across the street, maybe 8 or 9 years old, wearing a yellow dress that seemed too hopeful for the grimy New York morning. Her mother was on a phone call, her back turned. And the girl, small, bird-boned, and alone, brought a bite of pretzel to her mouth. Then she froze. Her eyes widened. Her hands flew to her neck. Daniel didn't think. His heart simply lunged ahead of him, dragging the rest of his body with it. Cars screeched. A cyclist cursed. A man in a suit shouted for someone else to do something, but didn't stop walking. Daniel reached her first. She was collapsing. He caught her. "Stay with me, sweetheart," he whispered, his voice trembling but steady enough to anchor her terror. "I've got you." He remembered the training he'd taken years ago for a construction job, back when his life had edges instead of splinters. He performed the Heimlich. Nothing. Again. Still nothing. Her face turned a shade that haunted nightmares. And then, on the third attempt, the pretzel piece shot out, bounced off the sidewalk, and skidded into a storm drain like it was fleeing the scene. The girl gasped. Coughed. Cried. He held her until her mother finally whipped around and screamed her daughter's name. "Lila. Oh my God, Lila." She ran to them with panic so raw it cracked through her polished voice. She was tall, immaculate, and wearing a blazer that cost more than Daniel's monthly rent. "Are you okay? Baby, are you?" Lila clung to Daniel instead of her. "He saved me, Mom." Her mother froze. Something flickered across her face, something sharp. Security guards appeared, asking questions with clipped, rehearsed precision. Someone mentioned the police. Someone else mentioned liability. Daniel's pulse thundered. He had to leave, for the interview, for his son, for their future. But Lila still clung to him. "Don't go," she whispered. And something inside him broke. He stayed until paramedics arrived. He stayed until Lila breathed evenly. He stayed until the mother stopped looking at him like he was an intruder trespassing on her fear. When he finally ran toward the Allera building, his shirt stained with panic and pretzel dust, the elevator doors had just closed. He reached the interview floor 15 minutes late. The hiring manager sighed with bureaucratic fatigue. "Mr. Hart, I'm sorry. We've filled the position." And just like that, his last chance dissolved. He walked home under a sky the color of scraped metal, his hands shaking from adrenaline and dread. He told Micah everything except the part where his courage cost him the job. The boy hugged him as though trying to mend the torn fabric of the day with small arms. "It'll be okay, Dad," Micah whispered. But Daniel wasn't sure anymore. Not yet. Not until the day the truth behind that strange hesitation came knocking. And when it did, it didn't knock. It shattered the door. The billionaire, the debt, and the truth hidden in 3 seconds. 3 days passed. 3 days of Daniel replaying the scene, wondering if he'd made the right choice or if fate had simply used him to deliver someone else's miracle. His phone battery died twice because he kept refreshing his email, hoping the company might reconsider. They didn't. Life marched forward with its trademark indifference. Then, on the 4th morning, someone banged on his apartment door hard enough to rattle the peeling paint. He opened it to find 2 uniformed men. Not police. Worse, in some ways. Corporate security. "Mr. Hart?" one asked. Daniel swallowed. "Yes. You need to come with us." His heart sprinted to every terrible conclusion at once. Was the girl okay? Had he done something wrong? Was he being sued? Arrested? What happened? He demanded. The taller guard simply replied, "Her mother wants to speak with you." The ride felt like a slow descent into someone else's life. Gleaming black SUV. Leather seats that whispered money. A city that grew cleaner the farther uptown they traveled. They stopped in front of a glass tower that pierced the sky like a polished spear. Allera Dynamics headquarters. Daniel blinked. What? Before he could wrap his mind around it, they escorted him through marble floors, past assistants who stared at him as though a stray gust had blown him into the wrong reality. Finally, they led him to the top floor, to an office so enormous it could have doubled as a museum lobby. And there she stood. The mother. Lila's mother. Except now she wasn't just a panicked parent on the street. She was Cassandra Vale, the billionaire CEO of Allera Dynamics. And she was studying him with an expression he couldn't decipher. "Mr. Hart," she said quietly. "I wasn't sure you'd come. I didn't know I had a choice." A ghost of a smile tugged at her mouth. "No. You didn't." Before he could respond, a small voice echoed from behind her desk. "Daniel." Lila ran to him. She wrapped her arms around his waist like she had known him for years instead of minutes carved from chaos. Cassandra's posture softened for the first time. "She hasn't stopped talking about you," Cassandra admitted, her voice gentler. "About the man who held her when she couldn't breathe. The man who chose her over his own future." Daniel swallowed hard. Any parent would have done the same. "No," Cassandra said, stepping closer. "They wouldn't. I've reviewed the security footage." Everyone else froze. "You didn't." He looked down. "I just reacted." "That's not all you did." She walked to her desk, retrieved a tablet, tapped the screen, and handed it to him. The video played. Him running. Him hesitating for exactly 3 seconds. As if something unseen brushed past him. What is this?" he whispered. Cassandra took the tablet gently from his hands. "Lila choked at the exact same age I nearly died from the same accident. Same food. Same kind of pretzel. Same street vendor. Same hour of the morning." Daniel's skin pricked.